Welcome to Pilates with Nicole. This is a half-hour class designed for folks recovering from COVID or anybody who wants to move slow and focus on breath and moving with your breath. So today you're going to need your trusty big beach towel. You can use a pillow or something like that. I like the beach towel because it's adjustable. You can make it a little bigger, a little wider, or flatter as the case may be. Either way, we are going to start with it at your upper back. So as always, do what you can, move at a pace that's appropriate for you. And if I'm saying inhale and you're exhaling, no big deal, right? So you're gonna lean back on this thing. If it's a really big bolster, whatever you're using, like a yoga bolster, it might be, you might want to kind of bring it up a little higher, but I'm going to place mine sort of right behind my sternum. If your neck hurts, you can kind of hold your head with your hand and then gently send your head back and over this thing. So what we're doing here, and then you can kind of get comfortable-ish, right? But we're stretching out the front of your body. You're sending your heart up, opening up the front of your rib cage here. You're going to get a little arch in that back as well. And you're just going to hang out for a moment. If it feels like, whoa, too much, too fast, bring yourself down on the mat a little bit so it's a little higher. It'll be less intense of a stretch. If it's too boring, if what you've chosen is kind of very flat, that's why you might want to fold it in half and you'll get a much bigger stretch when you send your head over it, right? Big stretch in the chest. Options for the rest of your body. You can stretch your legs out long. That'll help that stretch go down into your psoas. You can open the arms out to the side. If that's too much, you can bring them down anywhere in between. And then I guess your biggest stretch would be, reaching your arms up and back. If you do this version though, make sure that your shoulders aren't like hugging up into your ears. Like if your chin can easily touch your shoulder, you're probably kind of shrugging the shoulders a little too much. So I'm going to stick with arms out to the side. Okay. Find like a moment to just breathe. You might, hopefully, feel already a little bit of like a toning in your abdominal wall. So if you feel very like sort of extended out like this, I would encourage you to try to maybe scoot your tush a little bit, get into a position where you feel like your abdominal wall is not engaged, but it's toning, it's stretching, and it's being like a little stretched and flattened, I guess would be the word for it. And if you have trouble finding that after you've moved your tush away, draw your inner thighs together. Instead of being totally relaxed, draw those inner thighs. Start to feel how the inner thighs coming together is going to engage that lower ab area. So holding here, we're not totally relaxed anymore. You're working, bringing those legs together. Start to draw your ribs down on your exhale. So if you need to bring your hands there to feel it, on the exhale, your ribs are going to move a little bit towards your belly button, towards your pelvis. Inhale, they expand kind of up and out again, and then exhale. Can you close them a lot? This is your upper abs. Inhale, exhale. Inner thighs drawing together. Everything is starting to tone in your abs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. I'm exaggerating it a little bit so that you can see, but hopefully you can see and feel your own ribs and abdominals pulling together and down. So from here, if you're really comfortable with the legs long, you're going to take your hands behind your head. If this feels a little much, you're going to bend your knees and put your feet flat. But either way, your arms are coming behind your head. On the next exhale, when you close your ribs, you're going to actually lift your head, neck, and shoulders up. Inhale, lean back, maybe halfway, maybe all the way. Exhale. curl up. Inhale. Exhale. Let's talk about the work on the way down. So when you're inhaling, don't think of it as I'm just dropping because you might get into your back there. Think about it instead of pressing your head into your hands back into your head, and your abs are still toning. They're still working. And exhale. They just contract a little deeper here. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your attention to your pelvis. If you feel your pelvis rocking left to right, I challenge you to try to keep it really still and even. There's a few reasons why your pelvis might rock left to right: an imbalance in your strength, an imbalance in your bones and the structure of your pelvis. Either way, it's fine. If you try to keep your hips still, you'll work your muscles more evenly. You'll start to work against that imbalance. 2 more. Remember, you can always take breaks. Last one. So now I'm going to keep my head up and it's resting in my hands. Bend the knees, put your feet flat on the floor. And just from here, again, head is kind of gently pressing back, not a lot, but just enough so that I don't feel myself pulling my neck forward. And then from here, you're just going to pulse your heart up, up, up. Basically getting a little deeper in your curl. What you might bring your attention to is your ribs here at the bottom of whatever bolster you're using. Can you push those back ribs into the towel more? Whoa, that really wakes the abs up. Ribs back, abs will go in more. Try a few more on your own time. You might also start to feel a little lengthening in your back. Whew. Okay, so from here, just kind of wiggle your way down so that your head can rest on whatever you're using for your bolster. And then bring your hands to your pelvis. Let's bring some attention to the pelvis. So on an exhale, you're going to scoop your abdominals. There's that toning zipping up. And then you're also going to flatten the lower back on the mat. Inhale, tilt the pelvis forward, arching the lower back a little bit. Exhale, tuck. This movement might be small or really big. Do whatever feels like necessary to you today. But this is a great move to do if you're feeling a little frozen or tight or even pain in your lower back. Two more. Last one. And then rest. Now you're going to tip your hips left to right. So this is really like if you had a bowl of water on your pelvis and it was full to the top, to tip your hips, you can imagine spilling water to the right, your left hip lifts, and then bring it back to center and then spill water down to the left side. So it might be hard to see because it's not a giant movement, but it's different than like hiking the hip to your armpit. That's right. If you had water, you wouldn't really spill it so much, right? You want to tip the bowl of your pelvis and tip the bowl of your pelvis. Ooh. You might find you tip a little easier to one side. Try to find these muscles that like run up and down the sides of your waist here and in towards your hips. All right. As well as your belly. So it's not your knees, right? Just pulling your hips. You are in control of your hips. Okay. Now we did front, back, side to side. We'll do a circle. So you tuck, tilting back, tilt to the side, tilt forward, tilt to the other side, tilt back again. We'll do 4 more in this direction. It is normal if you've never done these for it to feel a little like herky jerky. And then I think we got one more. rest, reverse. You go back to the other side, forward, side, and back. Abdominals leading the way. They are initiating the movement here, as opposed to your feet or even your glutes. All abs. One more, and then rest. Okay, so now you're going to take that bolster, whatever you were using, and place it under your hips. Make sure it feels even. Sometimes when you fold things, they can be a little lumpy or lopsided, right? So I kept mine in the higher position, about a fists or a palms width high. I think that's going to work ideally for this exercise. You're going to bring your arms down, or this series of exercises. Lift one leg up to tabletop and just take them. Actually, maybe go first. Let's like return to here. Just find that toning again of the abs. Keep your pelvis in neutral. You don't want it tucked. You don't want it tilting forward or leaning side to side. You want it to be right in the middle of that circle that we just drew. And also you want to keep your abs and ribs in. Okay, now with the arms down by your side, you lift one leg up. Did you drop your hips? If you did, try to engage, lift that hip back up, and then lift the other hip up. We want to start off right away engaged and stabilizing, because it's only going to get harder from here. So you're going to bend one knee into your chest and stretch the other leg long. Can you feel the toning of your abdominals as you stretch the leg out? And then switch. Switch. So just like before, when we were arching our back, we don't want to have that sense of belly opening like this. We want to keep it in. That's how we're making it stronger, right? By extending the legs, challenging this flat belly. You might place your hands on your hips to feel what's happening. You might need to touch your belly to make sure it's not popping out. Touching yourself, you like holding any part of your body that you want to activate is a really helpful way to get those muscles activated, right? If you're like, I can't feel my belly, put your hands on it, and it'll help your brain and your body kind of talk to each other and say, okay, this is where we're focusing, so this is where we want to work from. Ooh, that was a lot. Okay, rest. Here, with your knees into your chest, you can tuck your tailbone and get a little lower back stretch. That might feel really nice. If it doesn't, don't do it. Bring yourself back to a neutral. Bring your arms back down. Bring your legs up to tabletop. So now, if you want a bigger challenge, you're going to stretch both legs out. Ooh, and come in. Feel that, those abs engage as the weight of your legs reaches away from you. Are you still breathing? You can breathe and keep your belly engaged. It's possible. Just takes practice. 2 more. Last one. Little break, or a longer break if you need it. But if you're ready to go, you're going to stretch your legs up to the sky. Lower one leg about halfway or so, not all the way, and kick the other leg closer to you. Make sure your pelvis didn't do anything weird. Scissor switch and scissor switch. And by weird, I mean just moving. Not that weird. Switch, switch. If you're tight, you're going to be getting a little stretch in your hamstrings. If you're not, you might need to be focusing more on keeping your hips still. Those of you who are really mobile might be a little more floppy. So you're going to have to focus on kind of reining it in, supporting your joints with your muscles instead of letting them fly loose. Wherever you're at, bring both legs up. If you're tired, if your legs are getting tired, take a moment to rest. If not, open the legs, lower them just a little, bring them together and lift them up. It's kind of like a boxy circle. You open, you lower, together and up. If you can straighten your knees, please do. It's actually going to be way more exciting for your abs and better for your hips if you keep those knees straight. Reverse those circles. Take your breaks when you need them. 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, we're going to stretch the legs out in just a moment. And bend the right knee and stretch your left leg long. Whew, that was hard. Pull your knee in, stretch the leg long. You might feel a stretch in the front of your hip and your quad. You pull this knee in more, it might be even more stretchy. And switch. Ooh. Okay, bend your knees, or lift your hips up rather. Take this thing out from under your tush, lower your hips down. Take a moment, and especially like if you're a person you know your back is tight, maybe take your hands right under your lower back, lower mid back area here, and just breathe into your back. And what that will feel like is your back pressing into your hands a little as you inhale and exhale. So instead of inhaling into the shoulders or into the belly, breathe into your hands under your back. Notice where you feel it. Do you feel it mostly up by where your thumbs are, up high, or can you get it down into your pinkies in the lower part of your back? You have to really focus on it, but it's possible. Really good. That breathing into your back is what's going to help you keep your belly engaged while you're doing stuff, right? And keeping your breath. Okay, so this is going to be a little challenging. You can always, I'll show you the modification after I show you this. So hold your bolster, whatever it is. It should be big enough to put both knees up against. So you're going to lift one leg up to tabletop, lift the other leg up, and then hold this thing against your knees. In fact, you can place your palms right on it. So right for a moment here, you're just going to kind of press into your hands and feel your belly pull in. So I'm pushing, not with my shoulders, but to engage my belly more. And then what you'll do is try to keep this towel, don't let it drop. Let's see if I'll do it. You're gonna, extend your left leg and your left arm back out and then come in. And then you'll stretch your right arm and your right leg. So you have to do is press your hand into your knee, basically, that's not moving. Keep your core connection. Woo. So a modification for this would be hands down and feet down, and you would lift one leg up and you'd stretch away. And you come down, you stretch away. If you're still working the towel or the bolster, you're probably tired, so take a break. Stretch away, right? And if you're taking a break, good, because that was hard what we just did there. And now we're going to try it again. So now you know the modification version, right? And if you've got your bolster, you're going to bring your legs back up, take your hands to the bolster. And I'm going to start with my right hand and leg first. So right arm and right leg, pull it back in. Woo! Can you keep your belly engaged as you breathe? If you're feeling this in your lower back, don't go as far. You could go like this. You could even just take your knee and arm off of the towel. That's still hard. This is really hard. Last one each side. And then lower down. Ooh. Hold the towel. You can rock your knees open and close, or you can also windshield wiper them. This is a nice way to get a little hip stretch in the front there. Okay, because you're going to take that bolster and bring it between your thighs, and we're about to open up those quads a bit and hips. So arms down by your side, feet should be as close together as your knees are. I know it's hard to tell, but if you can see your feet way out here, bring them in closer, okay? On an exhale, scoop, tone the belly, tuck the tailbone, and roll yourself up into a bridge. When you come up, keep your chin up, keep your gaze right above you, shoulders wide, and roll down. And tuck your tailbone, lift your hips, then your lower back, then your middle back, then your upper back a little bit, and roll down. Basically, the back of your neck never has to touch the floor in these bridges, right? You don't need to do this. It's too much pressure on the neck. And the towel here, in case you're wondering why am I holding this, it's to help you engage your inner thighs, which are also important in your bridge. It's not just the glutes and the hamstrings, although they are the main event. Okay, check in on how you're doing. If you need a break, you're going to stay down and do the next thing. If you're raring and ready to go, you're going to lift up into your bridge. Everybody, no matter where your hips are, you're going to squeeze that towel, squeeze the bolster, squeeze and squeeze. Can you make your lower abs engage more? Maybe you touch them if you need to, right? Ooh, squeeze. You'll notice that you start to engage the glutes and hamstrings a little more, hopefully, as well. When you're up here squeezing, squeezing, you can remember you can still be down here squeezing and engaging those lower abs. All right, everybody roll down and take a break. You're gonna get rid of this towel and you're gonna roll over onto your, you know what? I lied, we're gonna do this first. You're gonna take your hands behind your head. We're gonna do some curling up before rolling back. So on an exhale, just like we started on that towel, you start your curl ups with your ribs. On the exhale, you knit the ribs and then lift your head, neck, and shoulders up and lower down. 7 more. So we did this already on the bolster, right? Can you still press your head into your hands? Can you still tone the abs in both directions? I've got 3 more by my count. Can you press your bottom ribs into the mat more to curl up more? Okay, lower down. Option, you can just stay like that. If you want to make it harder, you're going to bring your legs up to tabletop. So now you've got your lower abs working to hold your legs up, stabilize the pelvis, and you're curling up and lowering down. 7. Whew. 6. When you lower down, keep your belly tight, just like when we worked the arm and leg away from each other. Oh man, it's hard to go nice and slow. Last one. And bring the knees in. Draw some circles with your kneecaps into your chest and around. And then reverse. All right, now we get to roll down. So you're gonna help yourself up, bend your knees, put your feet flat on the floor. This is impossible. You can straighten your legs, but this is gonna be a little bit more manageable probably. So taking your hands to your thighs, you start with a really long spine. Feel your ears over your shoulders, over your hips. And then on an exhale, you're gonna scoop your abs first and then begin to roll back. And then round forward. So you're rounding, 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 and then when you get back up over your sit bone, you stack it up. And again, abs first, round back. Maybe your hands go down and you roll back further. Everybody's half roll down is gonna look different. And again, round back. Ooh, and round forward. Just like our pelvic tilts and circles that we did earlier, you want everything to be initiated from the abs here. So when you get back here, if you start to notice your shoulders and your neck creeping up and that's where you're working from, maybe you've gone too far, right? Or maybe you can just relax your shoulders and find that strength in your center. So kind of listen to your body. You want to be in control of this half roll down the whole time, lifting up at the top. All right, if you're ready for it, you're gonna get your legs straight, zip your legs together, reach the arms forward and roll down. And then I give you some options. If rolling up seems impossible today, you can help yourself up and just do the roll down. Right? You can kind of push yourself up and then roll down because you're building this core strength you need for the roll up on the way down. Because we're trying to find the strength and the mobility to put yourself down bone by bone and roll yourself up bone by bone, right? So it's a little easier on the way down because gravity helps. But then on the way up, it's upper back, middle back, lower back, then sacrum and tail. Woo. I don't think we've ever done roll-ups in this class before, so you can go back to your half roll downs if you want to. We're gonna do one more and stay up. If those just feel hard, that is normal. They are hard, and it really requires a lot of organizing basically between mobility and strength. Coming to your hands and knees. So, and if it's easy for you, that's great, no problem. We're gonna warm up the wrists a little bit. So widen your fingers, make the space between your fingers really, really wide, and start to draw some circles with your body over your wrists. And I like stretch my fingers out so much, I'm like feeling almost a stretch in my hands because I really want to give my hands a chance to basically stretch after all the texting and scrolling and typing I do the rest of the day. Reverse your circles. I'm also pressing my hands and my knuckles and my fingers and my knuckles into the mat a little bit. It's going to help disperse the pressure in the wrists. Although, you know, I'm not going to lie, my wrists are feeling it. And then come to center. If you ever need a break, you sit back and you give your wrists a break, okay? But coming back to your hands and knees, think of this as like a little push-up for your wrists. How much weight you put into your hands is up to you. I'm going to shift some weight back, and I'm going to lift my palms up and then lower down with control. Both hands lift at the same time. Sometimes the stronger arm wants to lift first, okay? Don't do it. Lift your palms up and lower down. Lift just the palms up and lower down. If you've got some arthritis in your knuckles, this might be a little painful, but I recommend sticking with it a little, unless you know that it's going to cause you, a couple of days of pain, then don't do it. Last one, ooh, going down with control is the good part there. Take a moment off your wrists. Coming back to your hands and knees now, pretty warmed up, you're going to tuck your toes. And you're either going to be with me on this plank or you're going to be in your plank in your mind. So what do you need to do for your plank here? A tabletop plank, that's this bent knee version. You want to pull your abdominals in. We spent a lot of time toning those abs in and up on your back. Now you're going to do it in this position, right? So the abs are in. Check in on your shoulders. Push your shoulders apart. Make sure you're not hanging in your neck and shoulders. And then I also always squeeze my knees a little towards each other. So I'm activating those inner thighs again. It's all connected. So I'm already working basically. I'm not even in my plank yet, but I'm feeling kind of upper back, abs, inner thighs. And then maybe that's where you're staying and just focusing on all those things. It's a lot. Maybe you're lifting your knees up 1 inch and holding. Maybe you're still holding. You're lifting up like everything but your actual knees. And then lower down, relax, sit back for a moment. Don't worry, we'll do that again in the last minute of class here. So lots of options. If you really can't do your plank today, you don't want to lift your knees up, do it in your imagination. Your brain and your body will still get something out of it, even if you don't lift your knees up today. So tuck your toes, get ready, nice wide hands, strong hands. Sometimes that pushing away of the floor helps me to find my wide upper back. Abs in, squeeze those inner thighs towards each other. And then press your toes, maybe you can do that. Maybe you don't lift your knees, but you press your toes more and you feel those knees lighten. And then maybe the knees come up and you hold for 10. Breathing as you work. 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, and lower down. Sit back, sit up. Take a moment, if this isn't possible for your knees, sit in a comfortable way. Feel that warmth in your wrists. I feel them, but they feel okay. You know, if it's a little painful, that's all right. Check in on your breath one more time. Can you still breathe into your back, into your low back? And you are all done. Thanks for joining, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.